Just 2 seasons ago, Chelsea finished 12th in the Premier League and looked far from their best. In 2024, they shocked the world by winning the Club World Cup, beating an in-form PSG 3-0 in the final. That comeback didn't stop there. Now Chelsea sits 3rd in the league, only 1 point behind Manchester City. In Europe, they crushed La Liga leaders Barcelona 3-0 in the Champions League and held Arsenal to a draw, even with 10 men. These results show how far the team has come, turning from a struggling side into one of the most dangerous projects in modern football. This is Chelsea, a side reborn, young, fearless, and tactically sharp, proving with every match that their comeback is more than a moment. It is the beginning of a new era. In this video, we will dive into their fall, their rise, and their hunt for the Premier League crown. How good are Chelsea really this season? Let's find out. The end of Roman Abramovich's reign in 2022 was the closing of a grand era. For nearly 2 decades, Chelsea had lived under the glow of Abramovich's ambition, a club defined by instant success, lavish spending, and a relentless pursuit of trophies. After Roman Abramovich left in 2022, Chelsea entered a messy period. Chelsea's new owners, American businessman Todd Boehly, officially took over the club in May 2022 after Roman Abramovich was forced to sell. Todd Boehly's takeover plunged the club into confusion, with executives leaving, wild spending sprees, and the sacking of Thomas Tuchel only weeks into the campaign. Graham Potter's tenure promised a long-term project, but collapsed under the weight of too many signings, injuries, and a toxic atmosphere, leaving Chelsea in their worst ever Premier League finish. Frank Lampard's interim return did little to stop the slide, and by the summer of 2023, the club was desperate for a reset. Mauricio Pochettino brought calm and structure, trimming the squad and guiding Chelsea back to 6th place in European football. But disagreements with the board ended his tenure after just 1 season. In 2024, Enzo Maresca arrived with a fresh approach. He had learned from Pep Guardiola how to control games with possession and positioning. More importantly, he trusted Chelsea's young team and was willing to take risks by playing very young teams. His choice to field one of the youngest starting lineups in Premier League history was a bold move. Maresca's coaching rewired players to accept a dual identity, dominate the ball when possible, and become ferocious when the moment required bite. Chelsea's Club World Cup performance against PSG became a tactical poster for what Maresca wants the club to be: ruthless in transition, disciplined in structure, and able to unsettle elite opponents. These moments changed how people saw Chelsea. A team once full of short-term fixes now looked like it finally had a real plan. Chelsea quickly rose back to the top in England and proved themselves in Europe. Every good story needs challenges, and Chelsea has plenty. The biggest issue is discipline. Too many red cards have hurt the team this season. Playing with 10 men has forced Chelsea into damage control and taken away their strengths. Discipline isn't just about avoiding cards, it's about staying calm and making smart choices under pressure. When key players are suspended, Chelsea loses not only manpower, but also the tactical rhythm that Maresca relies on. This is why, despite big wins, they still don't look like true title favourites. Another problem is lack of experience in key positions. The goalkeeper spot is uncertain, and the centre-back partnerships are still developing. While the defence has improved compared to past seasons, it's not yet reliable. Young defenders can win headers and make fast recoveries, but they also make mistakes, misreading crosses, or mistiming runs. These errors get worse when suspensions force constant reshuffling. A third issue is finishing. Chelsea creates lots of chances, and goals come from many different players, which makes them unpredictable. But they don't have a striker who scores consistently in tight games. The stats show their chance creation is strong, but their finishing is below the level of elite teams. Rotation for European matches adds another challenge. Maresca's ability to change formations mid-game is a strength, but it also tests the squad's depth. Young players who do well in stable roles sometimes struggle when asked to switch positions often. Injuries and red cards force the team to reset too many times, which drains energy over a long season. These cracks make Chelsea's journey more dramatic. They raise big questions. Can the young squad learn discipline fast enough? Will the club buy a clinical striker? And can Maresca's flexible tactics work with such a thin squad? The answers will decide if Chelsea are just a one-season wonder or the start of a long-term project. If the first two chapters were about Chelsea's rebirth and its flaws, this one is about the blueprint, the shape, the tactics, and the ingredients of a contender. Enzo Maresca's Chelsea is not a rigid system, but a flexible philosophy. At its core sits clarity. The team often begins in a 4-3-2-1, but it morphs depending on the game. In attack, it can stretch into a 3-2-5, with fullbacks high and midfielders dropping to form a back three. Against stronger opponents, it compresses into a 3-4-3 or a compact mid-block. The brilliance is not in inventing complexity, but in teaching a young squad when to embrace chaos and when to control it. The midfield triangle is the engine. With Cole Palmer fit, the balance is perfect. Palmer as the creative playmaker, Enzo Fernandez as the progressive runner, and Moises Caicedo as the destroyer and shield. Palmer unlocks spaces with daring passes. Fernandez drives forward and arrives late in the box, while Caicedo screens and recovers with ferocity. When Palmer is absent, Maresca has used Reece James in midfield, and his aggression and discipline dismantled Arsenal in the derby. James is both a match-winning fullback and a wrecking ball in the middle, proof of Chelsea's tactical versatility. The attack is deliberately diverse. João Pedro links play as a pressing nine, Neto stretches defences with pace, and Estevan Willian adds raw dribbling and vertical threat. Goals come from everywhere, making Chelsea unpredictable. Yet the absence of a truly clinical striker remains the missing piece. The analytics show high chance creation, but finishing below elite levels. If Maresca could add one weapon, it would be a forward who thrives under pressure. Importantly, the substitutes have begun to make their mark. Tyreek George, Alejandro Garnacho, and Jamie Bino Gittins-Guyu have all injected energy and unpredictability when given minutes, turning tight games with pace, directness, and fearless attacking intent. In midfield, André Santos and Romeo Lavia have shown maturity beyond their years, offering control and bite off the bench. This rotation strength allows Maresca to maintain intensity across competitions, ensuring that tactical flexibility is not lost when the starting 11 changes. Defensively, progress is clear. Fofana and Chalobah combine aerial strength with ball progression. Chalobah steps into midfield to feed attacks, while Fofana dominates duels and wide channels. Robert Sanchez has improved on crosses, helping reduce expected goals against from 1.4 to 0.9 per game. Still, youth brings variance. Mistimed clearances, positioning errors, and suspensions create vulnerability in big fixtures. Pressing and transition are Chelsea's sharpest tools. When triggered, the team compresses, forcing turnovers high up the pitch. This explains Chelsea's league-leading shots on target and their growing set-piece threat, with Chalobah's aerial goals adding another weapon. For now, they stand as both a contender and a project, a club whose every match feels like a chapter in a larger saga. Chelsea under Enzo Maresca is no longer a club drifting in search of identity. It is a project built on youth, tactical intelligence, and fearless adaptability. The story so far has been one of chaos turned into clarity, of flaws exposed but not hidden, and of a squad learning to grow under pressure. For now, Chelsea are not just contenders. They are a living narrative, a team whose every match feels like the next chapter in a story still being written.